So the whole like 10,000 steps a day recommendation that a lot of people have, obviously time consuming, but also effective if you're actually going to adhere to it. I just find a lot of people probably won't adhere to it consistently. Do you think I would imagine the answer is yes, but I don't know. I'm just like thinking out loud here. If you were to do like a bandwidth allocation of like, you have thousands of steps, but not 10,000. It's like I don't know, like half of that or something. And then you do these exercise snacks, you can maybe get like the net same effect, if not better.
Yes, I think we should replace 10,000 steps with like 10 minutes of exercise snacks. And we have data to back that up. So there have been now multiple studies. These are very large studies where I say large in that there's like, hundreds of thousands of people involved in the data sample. They're wearing these accelerometers. So scientists can measure the increase in their heart rate, also their distance. And these are called vigorous intermittent lifestyle activity studies, VILPA for short. And it's been very eye-opening in terms of like what the results have shown. So I'm totally just going to summarize everything over, many years in like a couple of sentences here. But so people that are doing anywhere between 3 to 9 minutes of these, intense sort of short, vigorous exercise snacks, and they're not even structured. So they're like sprinting up the stairs because their office is on the 3rd floor and they are not taking the elevator, right? So whatever's getting their heart rate up pretty significantly is being measured. And so if you're doing that 3 times a day for like, let's say you're doing 1 minute and you're doing it 3 times a day, or you're doing it 9 times a day, people that are doing this have a 50% lower cardiovascular related mortality than people that are not doing these types of vigorous intensity bursts of exercise. They have a 40% lower cancer-related mortality, a 40% lower all-cause mortality. And this is even true in people that identify as non-exercisers. So in other words, they don't take time to go to the gym, or they don't take time to walk around the lake or walk on the beach, whatever. So they're getting exercise benefits from short, intense bursts dispersed throughout their day, up to 9 minutes. And that the statistics I quoted were all at the 9-minute range. So it is dose dependent. So if you're only doing 3 minutes, you're getting less of an effect, but you're still getting an effect. And so I think the answer to your question is about the 10,000 steps. Some people love to walk, okay? And they do walk and they do 10,000. Some people do 15 or 20,000 steps a day. But if possible, I think it'd be more beneficial to replace that with 10 minutes of, vigorous intensity activity a day. And again, that could be, it's relative, right? So someone that's sedentary, it doesn't take much for it to be vigorous for them, and they'll eventually adapt and get better. But you do need to kind of try. And I think that as people start to do that vigorous intensity type of exercise, they start to like it. There's a lot of pushback where I hear researchers talking about people aren't going to be compliant. It's so hard. You can't get someone to.
I feel like it's easier to think about how do I spend 20 to 25 minutes a day doing that versus spread out versus like how do I make sure I hit 10,000 steps if I'm a desk job or something. I don't know.
It wasn't even 25 minutes, Derek. It was 9 minutes max. Right. So, I mean, and these are people that weren't even thinking about exercise. They were just like taking the stairs. They were at every moment in their life, rather than getting in the car, they would ride their bike or whatever it was, they would take advantage of everyday situations to get their heart rate up. Even that was beneficial. And I do think that, thinking about these exercise snacks, it makes it easier for people because it's like, oh, I can just get up and do like some jumping jacks, do 2 minutes of those, 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, whatever it is you want to start out with 6 minutes, start out with 3 minutes, and then go to 6 minutes, and then go to 9 minutes a day. It's actually not that hard, and it's so beneficial. And so, yeah, I think it's kind of time to rethink that 10,000 steps. And the fact of the matter is a lot of people do have devices that they're measuring their physical activity, whether it's a Fitbit or an Apple Watch or Whoop, whatever it is. A lot of people are wearing them, and you can get that data, right? You can get that feedback, and it's like, oh, I got my heart rate up to this today for 2 minutes. Like that's a start.
What are the actual, if you were to rank order the benefits of 10,000 steps? Is it caloric expenditure? Is it are you actually training your cardiovascular system at all? And then, or is it glucose management? Like, how would you kind of like tiers list it if you had to?
Yeah, I think it depends on how vigorous the person's steps are, right? Like
Just like
they're just walking.
casual strolling, I suppose.
Yeah, there's probably there is metabolic benefits, right? Because you are to some degree activating those glucose transporters, so you're getting those metabolic benefits. Um, that's clear. You're helping with the cardiorespiratory fitness a little bit, right? There's increased blood flow, increased demand on the lungs, adaptations that occur, but they're pretty minor, right?
Mhm.
It's better than not doing it, right? It's
Yeah.
better than not doing it. And so those add up. They're additive. They do add up. And so when you have someone that's not doing anything, no goal of 10,000 steps, then it's really bad. And so you at least, if you have that 10,000 step, it's a goal that someone has in their head. They're trying to achieve it. So they make an effort to at least move more. And the moving more does have the metabolic benefits. It does have cardiorespiratory benefits to some degree.
Mhm.
It's limited, but again, compared to nothing, it's good.
If you're going tit for tat with like the exercise snack hit kind of style that you would theoretically replace it with, you're getting better glucose management, kind of guaranteed essentially. You're getting better training of your cardiovascular system. But then as far as caloric expenditure, not that I think anyone should achieve their deficit via the exercise. It's like mainly in the kitchen, obviously, like what you're going to get your net deficit to be. But what does that kind of look like for if I'm going to spend, the 9 minutes doing that versus the 10,000 steps, am I getting like 300 calories less burned? And I have to kind of like think about maybe factoring that in.
I don't really know. It depends again on like the person's speed of the
Mm,
steps, to be honest. It's hard to like
sure,
because
sure.
that makes a difference. But I would say the bigger question here would be brain benefits, and that is it's clear that going higher intensity is going to maximize those brain benefits, and you're not getting that as much with the 10,000 steps. Um, yeah, the caloric expenditure is a little, and then also muscular, right, adaptation. So when you're walking, you're only stressing your muscles so much,
Hmm.
right? It's more of a cardiovascular stress that you're doing. But when you're doing a high intensity sort of thing, if you're racing up the stairs or you're doing, air squats, you are engaging your muscles too, right? And so you're getting that sort of resistance training, that increase in muscle protein synthesis as well. So there's just so many layers to why you would want to do more types of vigorous intensity activity versus just walking.
Yeah, I'd be very curious to see. I don't know if this exists either, like the net outcome on body composition from like a fat loss versus muscle loss standpoint of somebody who's in the same calorie deficit, but is doing like the hit stuff to manage glucose versus somebody who's just, I don't know, casual strolling and reducing food intake proportionally. So, like, let's just say I have a deficit of 500 calories in both scenarios. Like, I'm wondering which one is going to result in, a better outcome, if any different at all, in terms of like, do I lose more fat versus muscle? Am I going to keep more muscle through this pathway, even though I'm also doing hypertrophy work as an adjunct? Because presumably anybody watching this isn't probably just going to be doing the cardio, but that would be interesting.
Right. I do think that engaging the muscle, you would get obviously more hypertrophy. And then, there's somewhat of the afterburn effect that you're getting with the high intensity interval training where
Mhm.
you're kind of burning calories like after you're doing them as well. Um, but yeah, I again, I still think that the vigorous intensity exercise kind of
Mhm.
wins, but it also depends on like what you're doing. Are you going on the Peloton and just biking? Are you adding the resistance so you're getting some activation of your quads and your hamstrings, right? So I tend to think that if you're going to do the exercise snacks, it's nice to engage your muscles as well.